This is the start of a new podcast, test episode. So hopefully we can put this one out. So I am joined here by myself, Danon, and my dad.
Mm-hmm.
Dad,
Mm-hmm.
say you're.
I'm my dad.
Yeah. So Daryl Waters, we have Ben Nickerson and Jeremy Dallas. We're doing this over Zoom because of all the COVID shit, which is totally going to date this podcast. And also, two of us are in Texas and the other two are in California.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, you said this is going to date it, but like 2 years from now when we're still doing this podcast, we're still gonna be doing
because of the COVID stuff. Like, yeah,
no shit.
It's going to date it 10 years from now. So that's how it's going to happen. So, but I have been dying to talk about Parasite. Because Parasite is, I can't remember the last time I saw a movie that good. Like it's, and I saw it at the Alamo Draft House, which is a local movie theater chain.
That's
here
cool.
in,
You actually saw it. I unfortunately did not get the chance to see it in theaters.
Saw it in theaters.
Oh
my
really?
god,
it would have been cool to see it in theaters.
I saw it twice in theaters actually.
I was gonna see it twice too. I was totally ready to go, but yeah, so good. So I mean, the thing about this movie is the marketing. Maybe because it was a Korean film. It was done by Bong Joon-ho, who also did Snowpiercer with Chris Evans, which is why he's a force here in America. Mm-hmm.
That's actually cool because now I see that. I didn't know that the same guy did Snowpiercer.
Very similar style.
It definitely had that feel to it.
He has a very distinct style. But
it's also another one of those movies where I was like, I didn't know about it until way after it came out. Snowpiercer was the same way.
Snowpiercer, I saw that on Netflix. So that's when I thought it was good, but when he announced that he was working on Parasite and kind of some of the first promotional material came out for it, then I was like getting interested, and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna go see this. And I'll put it up here in post, but the actual the movie poster for it is fucking terrifying. If you guys want to look it up really quick, since we're all on our computers, just look up.
I mean, we can also just.
Can't Ben screen share it?
Here, I'll be the dedicated screen share guy.
You'll be fact check Doug.
Fact check Ben.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fact check Ben.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember this.
Yeah. So totally creepy. Totally creeps you the fuck out. I love it. It's so cool. And it tells you nothing about the movie, which is even better.
That's true.
Which is when I went into it knowing absolutely nothing, which is the best way to go in a movie, right? And I really knew nothing about it. I just know that Dana had been bugging me about it, watching it forever.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
There's the Look at that. Yeah. It's so simple. Dead person in the foreground there too. I didn't even notice it, but the little kid behind the glass window, and his eyes are that too.
Yeah.
So it's
wow. Yeah. No, I didn't see that either.
It doesn't tell you anything about the movie, but it sets you up. You just don't really know what to expect, but it does it so perfectly in a way. All right, Ben, if you can kill that.
Yeah, it's really.
Oh,
good.
The Rock. Yeah, The Rock.
Yeah, all the details are in there.
Yeah, everything you need to know about the movie is in there,
cool.
but you're not going to know it until after you watch the movie, which is such a cool promotional piece of material.
It's funny because I watched it with my youngest daughter, Danon's sister, of course, and she kept leaning forward. You know what I mean? And I know something is good, and when it catches her, and when she leans forward in her chair to see what the fuck's going on.
Totally.
And that's what was going on with this movie. And this movie too is like, again, I had no idea what it was about or anything. So I just went into it totally. I didn't know if it was a horror film or anything. I don't know what was going on, and that was part of why it was good too. But it was beautifully shot too. Yeah. Man, it was a gorgeous film.
It's gorgeous. Yeah.
That shot when they're escaping the rain. Mm-hmm. You know, and they're under the bridge and shit. Oh my god! That whole scene. Oh, those whole set of scenes are fucking amazing. So just go. Is this a cussing podcast?
Oh, I've already set that up, my friend.
Oh, good, because I don't know how to talk you in the way. So,
well, one thing I love too is the way he sets up the scenes too. Is one scene that always sticks out in my mind is the one where they're in the bathroom looking for reception. Or not reception, but Wi-Fi. They're trying to get the Wi-Fi, and the way he sets up the scene, and that first scene when they're out actually sitting down as a family. But I came into it blind too. I didn't watch. I don't think I watched that much of the trailer. I think I watched the teaser when they first released the teaser, but I didn't watch the trailer because I was like, okay, I'm in. I don't want to spoil this for myself.
Yeah.
I didn't even know it was in Korean. Because he did Snowpiercer, which
Because it won
obviously-
Best Picture in America.
Yeah,
Did it really?
yeah,
Yeah, won Best Picture.
yeah.
Holy mackerel.
And totally deserves it. But yeah, so going into this blind, I thought it was going to be like a psychological thriller, which it kind of is, but not in the not in the way that I thought it was going to be. And such a slow build for such a good payoff.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, in this podcast, we're going to be talking about plot points, so spoilers. So I'll just give a quick rundown. So it's about this very poor family in Korea that they're trying to do like odd jobs to make ends meet. And then one of them has the opportunity to start tutoring a very wealthy girl. I think he's giving her English lessons. And so he goes in, starts doing these lessons, and then he realizes that he can get rid of other helpers of this family, car driver, the housemaid, all this stuff. He can kind of get rid of those people and then bring in his family members as people that are not related to him, to this family. And so they're slowly infiltrating this family's house and their lifestyle and their wealth, and basically kind of taking it over. And they really show that in one scene where the Parasite family is in the wealthy family's house and they're drinking all their alcohol and eating all their food and stuff and making a big old mess. That's when you show like they haven't changed. They haven't realized that they're, they have this great life now, or this, this ability to create a good life. And they're just like, yeah, we're kind of taking over. And this is what we're going to do.
I like that part too, because like they could have just realized how great they had it, even though they'd faked their way in. They were still making a lot of money. They didn't have to come stay at these people's fucking house.
And that's one of the things too, is that confused me when I was watching it first. I was like, where's the movie gonna go? Like, is that it? Like, I thought they were just like gonna slowly take over, these jobs and like incorporate themselves into this family's life. And I had no idea what they were gonna do with it. But then they do that thing in the pantry where the shelf moves and they go into that little hallway, and I was like, oh, this is what is gonna get
scared the shit out of me.
Terrifying. And that dude is down there, and there's some dude down there in the basement, that cellar, in that kind of like hidden room. And you eventually find out that it's the housemaid's husband. And when he lost his job, she started kind of abusing the family as well and putting him down there. Yeah.
Another
and
parasite.
feeding him, and another parasite. Exactly. And so, so they find all this stuff out, and they keep him handcuffed down there. And so as they start to take over, the father becomes the driver, the mother becomes the housemaid, the daughter becomes the art tutor to the son, and then the son becomes the English tutor to the wealthy family's daughter.
The mom's got the shittiest job because she has to actually work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
All the other people are
She's
just
clean the
bullshitting
fucking house. And
the art tutoring is like,
total
shit's
bullshit.
all made up.
Yeah, which I thought was
Right?
hilarious.
She's bullshit.
Yeah.
She's just making
it's
shit
obviously
up.
bullshit. Yeah.
The dad, he's just got to drive around. That's not so bad. But poor mom's got to make food and clean fucking floors and all kinds of
It's a real
garbage.
job.
Yeah.
Hey,
exactly.
the dad has to drive without spilling coffee, though. I mean,
That is true.
And he did it.
Easier said than done, for sure.
He did it. But yeah, so like they start to take over. They start to realize that something else is going on that the wealthy family has no idea about, and starting to deal with that. So the original housemaid's husband's down there, and then she finds out that they're taking advantage of the family, and so she tries to, what's it called? She tries to uncover their secret.
Blackmail them.
Yeah, and blackmail them.
She tries to blackmail them.
And it eventually all culminates, and it's building this tension, right? It's like slowly building this tension, and then it finally pays off in the end, where we have the scene where they have a birthday party for the wealthy son, and the housemaid's husband, who's been locked down in the basement for 5 years, breaks out. He breaks out of his handcuffs. I totally thought he killed the parasite son. When he takes that rock and smashes
I was convinced
his head.
that kid was dead.
He takes this.
Oh yeah, they show it to you as well.
Yeah, and he
it's
fucking
really brutal.
crushes that guy's head. And I was like,
I know.
it's not a violent movie. Like up until like the last 10 minutes,
yeah.
it's
No,
not a violent
not
movie.
really,
So it comes out of nowhere, and you're just like, Holy shit. And they also end up killing the original housemaid too, and they push her down the stairs in the scuffle, and she hits her head against the wall, or they knock her out.
Yeah, that's a brutal fall. That
Yeah,
initial fall of hers is brutal.
And so these little bits of violence that are incredibly, incredibly violent, and not even that graphic, but they pop up in the movie, and it's just like
they're memorable.
Yeah,
because when they happen, they're like, "Oh my god!"
They have like this gravitas to that. It's just like, oh
yeah.
It's,
you know what's cool is not knowing what the movie is about too, going into it, and when the mother was asking about ghosts, because she doesn't know what's going on, and we don't know that the guy's living in the basement fucking around with the lights either.
Yeah,
you know, which was cool. So even at that point, I'm saying, okay, so is this a ghost movie? Where are we going with this? And that was one of my favorite things about this film is you didn't know what it was about, and you didn't know where it was going. I think it being in Korean helped.
With a little bit of the
helped.
kind of throws you off the scent a little bit because you're used to the normal beats of like an American-made Hollywood film. You can sort of you can sort of kind of you can feel where the movie's going. You can feel where the plot's going. Even if it's a good movie, there's enough of a familiarity to it. Something about it being a foreign film kind of threw that off for me. I don't know if it's just the language barrier or what the difference is, but it did
part of
feel
it. But
like
you're right, though. They played it off. It's just done differently.
It's done differently. Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
Especially the first time you watch it, you're like, oh, this is kind of feels different. You know, that's good.
yeah.
And it definitely was like, where the hell is this going? I want to know where this is going. Which, like Dana was saying, I remember the last time a movie did that for me, where I really wanted to know what the fuck was happening, and was couldn't wait to find out.
Yeah, and I guess now that you say that thing about Snowpiercer, and is it the same director you said, Dana?
Yep.
That makes sense. I mean, Snowpiercer was a little bit less so. I did feel like I kind of had an idea where Snowpiercer was going, but even watching that movie, I wasn't sure how it was going to conclude. Like, I wasn't sure who the big bad guy was going to be at the end of the movie, or if it was going to be like a sci-fi heavy ending or more of a normal.
Was Captain America going to win, or
exactly?
You know what was going to happen?
Well,
that movie, Snowpiercer was cool. It was interesting, but wasn't good.
That's what I thought. Like, I was entertained by it, and it was a cool movie, cool idea. But yeah, it didn't really hold me. But I actually just looked it up, and Bong Joon-ho, I think that's his name. God, I'm gonna butcher these.
Bong
Joon-ho. Close.
Which is a great name.
Yeah.
Bong Joon-ho.
I wonder if he smokes weed. But he co-wrote Parasite. He didn't write Snowpiercer. So this is actually from
Snowpiercer is a book originally, right?
Yeah, and it was an adapted screenplay, but written by
Parasite's all original.
Yes, yeah, it's all original.
All
and
original.
He co-wrote it with another Korean writer. So yeah, this is from his own mind, and so he's able to take, he's able to take it to whatever limit he wants. But like,
yeah, I mean, it really like. It's hard to pin the movie down too because it kind of subverts the genre a bit. Like there's no indication that it's going to be a psychological thriller by the end. The beginning, it's really lighthearted and has like a lot of jokes and stuff.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, which is again what I loved about the movie is that you didn't know where it was going. You didn't know what the genre was because it was multiple genres mixed into one.
Yeah,
and perfectly woven. You know.
Oh yeah.
Because it was a horror film. It was potentially a ghost film. We didn't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think the thing that we haven't
psychological
seen,
thriller.
Yeah, the thing that we haven't seen before that he did here is usually you can kind of think of a movie that had done this, like Us by Jordan
Peele.
Jordan Peele. Thank you. Jordan Peele that just came out.
I didn't see that.
I haven't seen it either. I want to watch it.
I haven't seen it.
I've heard it's pretty good. But that's a movie where this family comes in and takes over the other family, right? You can break it down to its bare elements, and you can see this story in a bunch of other movies. But the reason this one's so different is because this family comes in, a poor family starts taking advantage of the wealthy family, but there's nothing wrong with the wealthy family. It's the other secrets that the other people that have been helping out, that's what they're holding back.
Yeah.
So it's like we have like three different groups of people here. We have the one that's coming in, the Parasite family, the wealthy family that's been here the entire time that has no idea what's going on. They're just living their life, doing their own thing. And then we have the group of people that's been there already, that's already been taking advantage of them. the dude living down in the cellar and his
pre-existing-
wife. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's really what's going on. That's what they figure out. So usually it would be like a family comes in and then they realize the dark secret that the original family has, where that doesn't happen. The family doesn't have a dark secret.
That's
They're
a
just people.
great point.
And so it's
normally
it's so fucking cool to see this kind of story where it's so, like you just said, it's so intricate, but it's woven together perfectly in this way where it's like you have all these different groups of people interacting with each other in ways that they don't even know about.
Yeah.
But in like an American film, the rich people would have been the bad people.
Exactly.
Right.
That is
it would have been really black and white.
A common and boring theme, honestly.
Yeah.
Because Americans, for whatever reason, got this thing where they hate rich people, right? It's just woven into society at this point, especially. That rich people bad, you know? They didn't deserve to get their wealth, and we all got to hate them now. So the fact that they didn't do that with the movie, that the rich people were just happened to be rich. You know, the guy had made a fortune, worked hard. You know, she married well, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, but it's still very much a class warfare film. I mean,
for sure.
Absolutely.
Like, it's really interesting because the rich people's biggest crime in the movie is being kind of dim-witted.
Yeah.
There's a lot of moments where it's just...
Maybe not dim-witted, just they have no reason
think
not
about
to
the
trust.
Wife. Yeah, the wife is particularly... Like, they actually call the wife... They're like, what's a good word for the wife? She's kind of ignorant. You know, there's like that whole scene where he's trying to explain that like they don't really pick up on things. They don't understand the nuances of the world because they live these coddled lifestyles.
Absolutely.
Which is
isolated.
a fair assessment of a lot of people who live in wealth
are
for
wealthy.
a long time.
It's a very realistic take on what a rich family might actually
this
be
is
like.
a bad evil person, but out of touch. Yeah, maybe.
I like that because in American films, it's like they always depict rich people as being bad,
right? As like, actually evil, bad, almost like, and it really they represent evil of
money doesn't mean you're a
really.
bad person.
No, but it
that's
shouldn't.
just how it is here. And it's cool that movie didn't do that, because again, it subverted those expectations that I would normally have from an American film of the same.
Absolutely. How many times have you seen the rich CEO bad guy in a movie?
It's so tiring. Honestly.
Yeah. There's nobody in this entire film that's comically evil, right?
Exactly.
Like,
it felt very realistic because of that.
It was very balanced.
Because no one was over the top. We didn't have any. That's a good point, actually, Ben. That's a good point. There's no Joker types, if you will. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
These were just normal people-ish put into extraordinary circumstances and how they react to it.
And
like when a dude from the basement stabs your fucking daughter at the 10-year-old's birthday party.
Yeah.
And so you kill the rich husband.
Yeah.
What the fuck was that? That whole
it makes perfect sense. It makes
fucking
I think
does.
It because it is a movie about like class consciousness, really, but it's not just like it's not saying like rich people bad, poor people good. It's saying poor people have it rough, and like the things that they have to deal with like build this tension that now you're feeling, and now he's in this really weird situation where his daughter just got stabbed. He feels like his life is over, and he looks at the rich person and is like, you're the reason that all this shit has happened to me.
Right? That is a great point.
And you can't, I don't think, empathize with that. You know, even in the moment, it's hard to empathize with it. But I think it really does kind of give you the perspective of like, if you really think about it, I can understand why the poor man's blight is the rich man's dilemma. It's just like, you know, not as black and white as this movie poster with the eye things that are black and white, or American cinema makes it out to be.
Yeah.
They really dive into the nuances of all that stuff, which makes it, I think, a really good cultural commentary.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's why even American audiences responded so well to it, because
absolutely
it's not your typical. Like I said, everything in American movies right now too are so fucking formulaic. It's painful. The teenage daughter is always a bitch, and you know what I mean. She's cunty, and they have to deal with that. The mom's always this, and the dad's always a rich people evil, poor people good. I'm exhausted from it. You know
especially
what I mean?
in this genre.
Yeah,
sometimes
this whole idea that poor people are just automatically good people because they're poor is something that's, like I said, is perpetuated by American society, which I don't understand.
Yeah,
you know, and that rich people are automatically bad because I don't know, somebody fucking worked hard and made their made their fortune. This makes them bad.
Or
somehow.
God forbid someone left some money for their kids, right?
God forbid, right? You know,
I left something behind. Now that,
Yes, some trust fund kids are dicks, but you can't.
Which is cool to see that here.
You know.
Yeah, it's cool.
Again, that's what's
the
so
thing
good
with
about
that too is like this movie has no clear antagonist. You know.
Yes,
and
that's one thing that I picked up about the movie.
That's what really helps you. Like, you have no idea where this movie is gonna go. Like, if you don't know anything about it, if no one said anything about it, and you're just like watching it because you want to watch it, you have no idea what's gonna happen, because like you're watching it and you're like, where can this go? Because the rich family's not bad, you know. I mean, they say a couple things that are ignorant, like the thing about the onions, how poor people smell like onions, which eventually is a catalyst. So leads to stabbing at the end.
They smell like poop too. And actually, I remember growing up really quickly. I remember growing up, we were all poor, but the really poor kids smelled like beef jerky. And I don't know why when you unbathe for a couple of days, you smell like beef jerky, but there's worse things to smell like.
It's true.
Because you get all salty and cured.
Cured meat smell.
Stew in your own juices. That's a good point, Dan. It's like, when's the last time you saw a movie where you could empathize with every single character? The guy in the basement, the freaking housefrau, everybody, the wife, because everybody got equal time too. It seemed like, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you could empathize with every single character and their motivations. You know, you weren't going like, oh, he's just a bad person. You're like,
nothing's like
get why they would do it
to
this
you.
way.
Yeah.
You're like, I get why they would do this. I would get why the poor family would do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Yes, it's bad. It's taking advantage of people, obviously. But I understand their motivation. I understand the rich people's motivation.
And especially when they lose it all, or when they come close to losing it all, and they barely make it out of the house unscathed.
Yeah.
And then they go home and they find that all of their belongings have been flooded. Like,
such a great fucking scene, man. Such a beautiful scene. That whole thing where they're escaping back to their neighborhood and they get there and the flood is going into their windows.
Yeah.
and filling their apartment. And the final scene where the sister's just sitting on the toilet on her fucking phone or whatever the hell she's doing, holding
smoking
the
a
shit
cigarette.
down. Oh, yeah, smoking a cigarette, holding the shit down.
That's right,
Oh my God. I was like, God damn, this fucking movie's brilliant. It was so great. So
it's
great.
really good pacing too, because you're like so relieved that they made it out, you know, because you're still like, I think these are the good guys, so I'm rooting for them to get out alive. And then they make it out, and you're like, this is much worse than getting found out.
Yeah, right? It might be better to get found out and just get thrown out of the fucking house.
Yeah.
That's the cool thing, too, is like, when their house is flooded, you already know what they're doing. They've already been there for a while, and they've taken completely over. And so, but you still feel bad for them. You know, like that's tough to do.
Yeah, they're definitely the people that you actually sort of root for. I mean,
no, exactly.
Like I said, no one's really a true bad guy in the full sense of the word, but you have people that you root for in the movie, for sure.
Oh, and I think the saddest thing is that the person who did the least wrong in the entire film is the daughter.
Yeah, the wealthy daughter,
the art daughter.
Yeah, the art tutor.
Yeah,
she seems like, I mean, she's not hooking up with an underage kid. She didn't kick a dog.
Check.
She didn't stab somebody, you know, because of class consciousness. She literally was just like, she's just like, I just like want to make a little bit of money. And even during the scene where they're all enjoying, you know, the crazy, the crazy benefits of things at the dinner table or whatever. It's like,
you're talking about when in the living room, right?
When they're in the living room,
getting drunk.
Isn't she the only one that has some remorse for what they're doing? I think.
Yeah, she's like, and she's not I mean, they play it off that she's too drunk, but she's not quite participating in the excess quite as much as everybody else.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, another interesting thing about that scene is that the son is the only one who's drinking the shitty old Korean beer, not the high class whiskey or whatever it is they're doing. So there's a lot of like stuff in just what the characters are doing that kind of tells you a lot about them.
It's funny too, because like, how many movies have you seen, right, where, you know, the family's coming home and they gotta hide or whatever like that, but those scenes, man, my heart was in my fucking throat. I could barely fucking breathe.
Like, how great was it that they were underneath the coffee table? And he had
I was gonna say that under
hours.
the table scene is just fucking nerve wracking.
And I love he's on the phone.
While the rich people,
underneath the coffee table because they've been under there for hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, while the rich people are banging on the couch.
Getting busy with it. While their kids out in a fucking tent.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like, the whole thing, and it's great, too. That whole scene where she says, rub it counterclockwise.
Oh, yeah.
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 Such a specific, like, okay, but go counterclockwise.
A woman knows what she wants. I
Yeah.
can respect that.
Yeah.
I think, was it that scene? There's a scene, I think it's that scene. Before I watched the movie, my roommate Johnny had it on, and I just picked a horrible time. Like, I came out, and I was going to, like, make myself some food, and that scene came on. I was like, what the hell is going on?
Perfect scene to eat.
What are you watching? Yeah.
Yeah, what are you watching?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't know what it was.
And what are these words that they're saying?
There's plenty of moments in that film where you could walk in and just be like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, it's one of those movies where, out of context, if you took a scene out of context, it would be like a definite what the fuck moment.
Yeah, you have to pay attention to fucking everything. It's one of the movies you got to pay attention to everything in.
But
There's
that's the thing too, is
details
it never
that you don't want to miss.
It never leaves your attention behind. You're always right there with it because it's so easy to consume.
Yeah.
It's such an easy movie to watch, and you just you get used to reading the subtitles. I don't mind foreign material at all, so it's super easy for me to get immersed in
I've
it.
been watching
my
forever,
my subbed anime lately, so I was prepared.
Hey, Jared.
Oh, okay.
Nice. Pan's Labyrinth.
Thank you, Pan's Labyrinth. Another beautiful film. Another beautiful film where it's subtitled, and after 2 seconds, I don't even see him anymore.
Yeah,
and this was the same way. You just do it, and you get engrossed. Ben, are you being enveloped by the darkness, or?
I am. It's
are you a vampire?
Wow,
yeah, that's kind of interesting.
I had to turn on the light. Like, eventually,
Yeah, you're still like in the dark. That's funny. Oh, there you go.
Like,
wow, it's super dark. Well, you got that. He's facing a courtyard. I'm facing a park. So
I was gonna say because you guys still got plenty of light on you, Dana. What is it? 5 to 6, 6, 7 over.
well, to be
almost
fair,
7.
Danon is on the 3rd floor of his apartment.
I'm on the 3rd
True,
floor
he's
and I
close
face
to
the
the
park.
sun.
Yeah,
And
I'm closer to the sun.
If you're 10 feet close to the sun, you would burn up.
It's true.
That's
Seen that.
It's actually
on
getting
the
hard to
internet.
breathe up here.
Isn't the Earth crazy? All right. Well, Danon, we're at 33 minutes.
Yeah, we
here.
can go.
Do we want to give our final thoughts on Parasite?
Well, I want to just talk very quickly about the ending of the movie. So in the ending, it's when the shit kicks off. Dude escapes from the basement, smashes the parasite son head with the rock, knocks him out. Fucking insane.
That's right.
Fucking crazy.
Takes a knife.
Knocks him out.
Well, I mean, he
makes him dumb. He freaking gives him mental issues after that.
Knocks him out for a while. Just a mild concussion. And then takes a knife and goes and stabs the parasite daughter, right?
Yeah, sister.
Yeah, parasite daughter. And then, but at the same time, the rich father is making comments again about that onion smell, and that's also what sets off the parasite father. Is he takes another knife and he stabs, or he takes that tomahawk, right? He takes something and kills the rich father. So it's all in the span of about 3 minutes.
Dude, it comes out of nowhere too.
Yeah.
Just comes out of nowhere, and you're like you're like holding on for dear life, right? You're on for this crazy fucking ride.
Absolutely unbelievable, and it's the coolest payoff in such a nice slow build movie. And it's incredible.
Yeah. I mean, this movie is the definition of a slow burn, but even though it's a slow burn, it's like enthralling the entire time.
It doesn't feel like a long movie at all.
Yeah, it doesn't feel. What's the runtime? It's not.
I got it.
It's really not that long of a movie, is it?
It's really not. It's 132 minutes, so it's a little bit over 2 hours.
So 2 hours and 12 minutes.
It doesn't even feel like it.
I thought it would have been an
That's
hour
not that bad at all.
Yeah, that's actually really that's amazing that they were able to keep your attention for so long. But I mean, so this scene happens, and then we have the scene at the end here too, where the son wakes up in the hospital. You realize that he got his head cracked, but he's still okay. And
got some brain surgery, just a little bit of brain surgery.
But they have this scene, and this is my only gripe with the movie, and you might be able to change my mind on it. But we have the scene at the end where he's writing this letter to his father, telling his father that it's going to be okay. He's going to come and get him. He's going to make a ton of money. He's going to buy the house, and he's going to come and get him and release him, and he's going to be free. And they show that. They have this kind of flash forward into this fantasy of what that could be, where he looks like a Korean pop star. He's got like the haircut and everything.
Like a K-pop guy.
He's got the suit and everything. And he goes and he's bought the house. I think that's just a
cultural thing. I think that all rich Korean kids actually look like
I think it's like a rite of
K-pop
passage
stars?
now.
Yeah.
I think that I don't know. I'm not Korean, so I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's a cultural thing.
I kind of got it going on. I just need a diet. So we see the scene where he's with the realtor at the house and he buys the house, and he lets the father out, right? And there's no dialogue. There's nothing else. There's just the music, and then the father walks up out of the basement, and they just stand there in the backyard staring at each other for like 15 seconds. And then I think it cuts to black, and we realize that he hasn't actually achieved his dream, and he's still writing that letter. And he goes and he looks for the Morse code from the flashing light. We also forgot about that too. That's why that light is flashing on and off, is because it's Morse code. And so that's how he's reading his father's signs, letting him know that he's still in the basement.
Because they don't know where he's at. They're looking for him. Remember, the cops are looking for him. Nobody knows where the fuck he's at.
But he went and hid in the basement because still nobody knew about the basement.
Now he's the guy in the basement.
Basement is the place.
I wanted that basement so bad. God,
that's such a sweet man cave.
Right, yeah, I want a bomb shelter, anyways. But man, that was a fucking bomb shelter.
Dude, I want
a toilet like nice right next to your bedroom. It's great.
You open up the book, the fucking, what were they drinking? Like fucking.
It was plum juice.
Yeah,
plum juice.
Yeah, behind the plum juice shelves is where I want my man cave for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Nobody is coming for the plum juice. I'm gonna tell you that right now in America. So that would
that's the
fucking
perfect
stay
place
hidden
to hide
forever.
it. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, is that a plum juice shelf? Well, I'm out.
Like, screw that.
Okay, but before we get too far, we have the scene, right? We have the scene where he has the fantasy and he buys the house and it cuts and it fades to black. I personally thought that was a beautiful ending, and I was a little disappointed when it went on for a little bit longer. I still like the original ending and how it ends with the Morse code and stuff like that. But most of me, 80% of me, wishes that they had ended on that scene with that, that hope that eventually he bought the house, let his dad out of the basement. Because it's such a beautifully done scene. That would have been the perfect way to end it, because there's no dialogue, no like, hey, it's finally, I haven't seen in years.
I think that's the American in you. Like, that's a very Hollywood ending where it's like, even if they left it up, like it's just the father walking out and then no words or anything, and it's up to you to decide whether it was real. I feel like that's such a Hollywood tropey. Like, this feels good. It's like the end of
this feels good.
Yeah, which
I will keep rubbing it.
What's that Will Smith movie where he's a superhero?
Oh,
Hancock.
Independence Day.
Hancock.
Independence Day.
Okay, so Hancock. The original screenplay for Hancock, he was supposed to die, and it was supposed to be an indie film, and it wasn't going to be Will Smith. And then they rewrote the ending to have him like, even though he got shot and his powers were gone, he still comes back to life, and now he's going to be a superhero in New York or whatever.
Now he's on the moon.
Yeah, it's
that's
how that ends. Yeah,
which is stupid. It's like, just let the guy die. Not every single thing needs to have a sappy good ending, and that's what I really enjoy about this film is that, that would be really great if like that happened, but also you've got brain problems now, and it's just you and your mom, and like, the reality is that you're probably never going to achieve that. So I think you get to experience his hope, but it's like totally bleak. It's a very realistic hope, which is like, I have no chance of achieving this, but I still want it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, that's why I like the original ending too. Like the actual ending, I really liked, because it's just like, oh shit, like the dad's still in the basement.
Yeah.
And probably never getting out.
Probably not.
I mean,
not, no.
Because the cops are after him, and he's only able to sneak out to get food and stuff. But
right.
He can't.
And the only reason is because it's a German family that moves in.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Well, I see what you're saying, Dan, and only because you could almost call it a false ending. I feel like it is just it is kind of wrapped up nicely, So I can see, like, I felt the same way the first time I saw it, thinking, well, this is a good. If this is how it ends, like, I'm satisfied with that.
Yeah.
But the actual ending is good, and I think the actual ending is more in line with the movie as a whole. It's a better ending to fit the movie as a whole. But I felt the same way too the first time I watched the ending, thinking like, well, I would be okay with this.
It's the frustration.
And and you share the frustration. It's kind of like what you were saying earlier, Daryl, about being on the edge of your seat. Once you get invested in a movie as much as we are by the end of it, I think you, like I said, you're kind of sort of rooting for people, and you want to see that nice little bow on the end of the end of the movie.
I definitely didn't need it.
But and it wouldn't. And if it was that way, it wouldn't have actually. I don't think it would have been true to the way the movie was. You know, it would have been. It wouldn't have been true with the rest of the movie.
Yeah, that's true.
Honestly, I got to rewatch the ending to remember exactly, because I remember the part you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember going, "Oh, okay, this isn't actually happening."
Yeah,
but I need to rewatch it again because I remember not hating how it ended or anything, but I definitely don't. I respect movies that don't tie things up in a neat bow, especially when they don't need to be. But also some movies need to be. You know, they drag you through so much mud. Some movies drag you through so much mud. If it doesn't end good, also, then it's just too much. You know, some movies have to end. If they've, it depends on how much crap they've dragged you through.
Yeah, so. That's a good point. Like,
I guess like Pursuit of Happiness. Could you imagine if that movie ended and he still didn't get the job?
Yeah, that would be horrible.
Or what about
Pursuit of Happiness is just a sad movie all the way through until the end.
Top to bottom. Yeah, that would be horrible. Or that I saw. Did you ever see that movie Green Room?
Yeah.
That's a great
kind
of
Green
indie
Room's
flick.
Great. Yeah.
And that's another movie that drags you through it because it's violent and people die.
Yeah.
And it's very bleak and the bad guys are bad. And a lot of the movie is like that. And I just think, like, if you're going to get dragged through that and then the ending is just as bleak as the whole rest of the movie was,
it wouldn't have worked.
I don't ever want to watch that fucking movie again.
I agree with you. If that movie was so hardcore.
Yeah.
And so much horrible shit happened.
Without spoiling the end of the movie, it's not. Yeah. It's not.
Jean-Luc Picard was a great fucking bad guy.
Oh, yeah. It's the movie about the Nazis versus the band.
Yes,
versus the punk rock band.
I need to watch that. I've heard about that. Surprisingly good.
You'd like it, Dana.
It's really good. It's one of Anton Yelchin's last. Where he crashed himself with the car.
I think the whole thing comes down to texture, right? Like, there's a lot of emotional texture in Parasite. It starts kind of happy-go-lucky, and then it kind of starts to spiral out of control. It's not just a sad, frustrating movie the whole way through. You're actually oh, these guys are making headway. Oh, and they're like cracking jokes, and I like them. Oh, she kicked a dog. Oh, there's a person in a basement.
Yeah.
Oh, the daughter got stabbed. It's like, it's just got like a lot of emotional things to it that aren't just the same kind of cadence. And I feel like that's what's really important for a successful film to end on a sad note or on like a bleak note, is that it wasn't just bleak the entire time. Because like I can do that on my own by hanging out, right? Like I don't need a movie to
I can get stood up on coffee dates.
Exactly.
That's right.
If I'm home all day,
dates.
my ending's gonna be a sad ending. So
exactly. They don't that's what I have. I don't have happy endings.
Right.
But
do you guys do sad endings here?
I live a sad life, man, with sad endings.
What are you talking about?
Well, I wanted to say really quick is like, okay, you have this family who's like, oh, we can take advantage of this other family, and they fucking pay the price for it.
Yeah.
That's a good way to think of it. Okay, I feel a lot better about the actual ending now. I still really liked it, the way that they actually, like when the movie actually ends, I was still very, very satisfied with it. Because the movie as a whole is just like, oh my god. But yeah, that's awesome. It's just like, they have this family who's barely making it by, and they're like, oh, we can take advantage of these people. And then it completely destroys their life.
And on that note, really quick before we end this, I think that's what was cool about it too, is like the part where, like I said, they're all have the jobs now. They're all making good money. They don't have to be parasites anymore, technically. They could just do these jobs and enjoy their lives, but they can't do that because that's in these people's nature to be this way. That's why when they're out camping, where the hell they're doing, what do? They all go to the fucking house and start partying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't have to do this anymore. They could have gotten their own nicer place. All four of them have good jobs. They could have kept this sham going for years. But they can't do that because that's not who they are. They're fucking parasites. Exactly. That's the name of the movie.
That's a
it's
good
in their
point.
nature.
Yeah.
You
So
know?
that's another good thing too. Is like the name of the movie is perfect. It's perfect, and it's they never actually say it in the movie, but that. Like,
thank God, that's an American thing to do.
Yeah, it's
roll
totally
credits.
Wow.
What's that? CinemaSins? You ever watch that?
Ding.
You're one hell of a parasite, son. You know what I mean? It would have fucking been terrible.
What is this? Some
would've
sort
been
of
so
Suicide
cheesy.
Squad?
Yeah. What is it? Some sort of parasite squad? It would have been terrible. Right? What are we having for dinner? Parasite? I would have been.
Hey,
terrible.
you know what? Let's just wait 5 years for the American adaptation to come out, even though it was released in America. And then
Yeah.
With Daniel
Well,
Craig.
no,
we'll
really.
get Will Smith as.
I'm sure.
As,
Hey, Will Smith's the Suicide Squad guy too.
Really quickly. Do we know what our next movie is? Because I have a 2 movies I want to do.
I would love to do. I want to keep it within movies that came out pretty recently, so I would love to do Jojo Rabbit.
Okay.
I
saw that.
Oh,
I saw that.
okay. I'll watch it. I haven't seen it
Okay,
yet.
I would watch it. It's out on demand. I don't know what the fuck you call it now.
It's on.
I don't know
it's
why
out
I'm
on
using
Demand.
demand.
It's
in the ether.
We never
why
used
did you
demand.
revert back to like old?
I don't
fucking,
It's out on pay-per-view.
Cinemax.
Yeah, what's it
and
on pay per
HBO
view? Which
terminology.
damn
It's
thing?
on the box tonight.
Yep.
Turn channel 3.
Well, did
It's
you
on
record it or
channel
what?
700. Use your cable box.
You sound like
Well,
my dad.
I don't know. That was my.
totally.
I reverted back to that was my safe word. Was pay per view.
I don't want to know your safe word.
That's your
Gross.
safe word. All
We don't want
right.
to know David's safe word.
like that.
God.
Shut up about your safe word.
And on that note,
Funnily
Dan,
enough,
play
my
us
safe
out.
word is Parasite.
Really quickly, we can do that movie, but I want to do 2 movies.
Mm-hmm.
There's the Swedish version. It's called Let the Right One In. It's
Ooh,
the
I'm
Swedish
down.
version. And then Let Me In is the American version. They are both amazing. They are both great films in their own different ways.
Yep.
And I would love to watch both of them and watch the Swedish one first. I think that's how it should be done. And then the American version is Matt Reeves directed it.
Oh, nice. I like
And
Matt
it's
Reeves.
got Hit Girl in it.
Grace Moretz.
Oh,
and,
Chloe, what's her name?
And Cody Smith McPhee. All these poor bastards got 13 names, right? But,
Yeah.
dude, fucking the American version is
So good.
so fucking
Richard
good.
Jenkins,
I actually,
isn't it?
We'll talk about it. Richard Jenkins is amazing. And I like the American version better. We'll talk about it when we watch it. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Gotcha.
watch
So-
both of them and we'll do it.
Okay, well,
Cool.
that's 2 movies, so we can give that a bit of time. Well, what do you guys want to do? I would love to do Jojo Rabbit because it's an easy
We can
movie.
do
It's an
Jojo
hour and a
Rabbit.
half. It'll be good, and then we can do that for next week. And then in the meantime, try to watch both those movies because you need to watch both. Have,
Yeah.
like,
You
a
need to
really
watch
good
both of
discussion
them.
about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So
Which so hold up, let me just
And read the
this down
book.
quick.
Just kidding.
yeah.
And the book.
I'll
Really
put
quick, the
I'll
book.
put this all in the Trello, and then I'll send you guys the
Yeah.
Trello links, and so we can organize it that way.
Oh,
Any
okay.
movies we want to
Cool.
watch, and then we can organize the next movie.
Are we gonna do like an outro thing? have?
Sure. Yeah. So this has been insert title of podcast, and I'm Dan Waters.
I'm Ben Nickerson.
I'm Daryl Waters.
I'm Jeremy Dallas.
Cool. And then we're going to be putting this up on YouTube, the video COVID-19 version, and then we're going to be on Spotify, iTunes, and SoundCloud. And
I like the name of the podcast. Insert name of podcast.
Insert name here.
could
insert
be
name
very
here.
meta with it.
Insert
so.
name of podcast would be very
Cool.
meta.
That would be